Good morning, traders. Welcome to the second part of the webinar. We'll start it with the crypto. If you're watching my webinars this week, it's all free. Make sure you watch the start of the first one. If you're one of the crypto guys, you only watch these crypto webinars. I'll repeat what I told the other traders because I mentioned something about my installment program and everybody was asking what was that. A lot of new traders watch these webinars. It's pretty much the way where you pay to join our group in installment. And if you do that, if you start paying your installment, you immediately start getting my daily webinars, which is the one you're watching here. They're pretty much, if you like them, you watch it. I don't know what else to tell you about it. If you like what I do, you think it's benefit to you, it can help you in your trading, then why not? Give it a try, right? If not, then don't worry. If not, you're probably not watching my webinars, right? So basically that's it. Anyway, let's go. So let me start with Bitcoin because I think some traders are pretty much missing the whole point in what we do, right? What we do is called wave analysis. So let me give you a very simple thing of how wave analysis works, because I've never done it for the Bitcoin community or for the crypto community. Every single chart you look at, regardless of what the hell that chart is, right? It doesn't go in a straight line. If it goes in a straight line, you're dead. Right? If you get a straight line, you're dead. If not, you're going up and down because everything moves in waves. Simple. I hope everybody understands what I meant by this, right? That's your heartbeat. If it goes straight, you're dead, right? So basically, nothing moves in a straight line. So the concept is based on the fact that since nothing moves in a straight line and it moves in waves up and down, and you have to have progression, right? Progression means something is going up for a longer period of time. You will start to see something like this. And then you will get what popularly known as the bear market. I don't like to put those names in it, is that you'll start to come down and then you'll start to go back up to continue the progression. You can see this on all time frame, starting from the 1 minute, or even if you have a tick chart, all the way to the yearly chart. So the concept is very simple. Now that you know that, you're saying, so what the hell has that got to do with me? How do I trade that? And that is where we come in. We look at the waves, right? The sharp moves and the corrective structures. I'm just simplifying it here. And what we have seen is that one of this will follow by one of that. Now, these are not necessarily straight lines. These could be like this though, right? It could be like this because these have waves in them too. But the idea is that you'll have a movement, you're going to get a pull back into that movement, and then you're going to go. So what it means at this point, nobody wanted to buy Bitcoin anymore, whatever the coin you're trading, the price starts to drop. People are selling off, people are taking profit, whatever is happening, people are speculating. I don't know what the hell you want to put it, call it whatever you want. We call that the corrective phase. It goes into that correction, correct the previous move up, and then it goes back into the impulsive phase. Now, this is what we do. We take advantage of getting this. And you might say, well, how do you do that? Well, if you understand the structure of the corrective phase, then you understand how you can take advantage of the impulsive phase. And that is what we do day in, day out. So when we were looking at this, if you also understand bigger structure, remember when this was going up? You might forget it. So go watch my webinar. And I said, as soon as we break that top, we're going to come back down. And if you put a line, you would realize we broke the top more than once. We broke the top twice, right? So put a straight line here. See, it broke the top the first time it came down and then went back, and there goes all the troll. Oh my God, this guy has no idea what he's talking about. Look, we're going up again, and he said we were going to come down. It doesn't mean that it's immediately going to drop. I think one person answered to the guy and said, you wait a little more, you'll see it go up, right? That has to be one of my traders because you probably know. It can be very complex. Let me explain this again. It can be very complex. It's not complicated, but it's complex. And that's where we break it up. When we said we're looking for a sell, it doesn't mean we're going to click sell immediately. We have a number of things we need to see, which we call the setup, which is the strategy you're going to use to see whether you get that setup. And if you get a certain setup, you're going to use a certain strategy to get into it. And even though we might get the setup, we don't necessarily stick with the trade if it's not going, right? This is not a religious thing, idea fix. Hey, this thing has to drop, so I'm going to sell it. And if it doesn't drop, I'm still going to sell it. We don't do that. We manage the trades we're in. So if the trade we took is the one not going, okay, great, we're out of it and wait for another setup. See whether this is the one that's going to go. So eventually it can become very complex. It does not mean by anything that this is the one that is going to go up right now to the top. As a matter of fact, I think this is going to come here and come back down. And if you get this is the bigger correction, I can tell you there's a good chance we come here and we come back down here before we actually go. So this thing could work its way back all the way back to the bottom here and then start the next impulse. This is what I just drew. Remember when I drew this one here and I'm doing this? Well, think of this one up and think of this doing this piece before you get the next phase up. The only difference in what I drew there and what you have here is that this range is huge. So we trade inside of the range. See? So don't get all worked up when I said we were expecting this thing to go up. And it means that it has to go up immediately. So yesterday I said we thought this is a running flat. We looked at this as a possible expanding flat, sorry. And we broke the low. So if you get a flag here, if you get a setup there for buy, then you should buy it. But you didn't get a setup and it drop again, no problem. It can go back up here and drop again. It can go back up there and drop again. It can go up. And guess what? When we see this, what happens? We absolutely know we're looking for a buy. See, that has not changed. It hasn't really gone anywhere. It is right where it was yesterday, actually, right within this price range. So don't get also worked up so quick. Try to understand it. It's complex, but try to understand it. And if you do that, you can take advantage of it. So we're still looking for the upside. That has not changed. Structurally, that has not changed. If there's a structural change in it, I would show you, hey, wait a second. This thing is looking a little different from what we thought this pattern is going to be, because there's more than one patterns, right? There's so many of them, and there's so much variation of a single pattern. And when you look at it, you said, okay, I'm expecting this one, but then let's see if it's changing into something else. And it can change into something else. That doesn't mean you don't recognize it, right? It's not like when you open your wardrobe and you look at all the shirts and you can't recognize which shirt you're going to wear today or which shirt you have, right? It's not like all your shirts look alike. That's a weird comparison, but just to make simple people, like the simple-minded guy here who was saying, oh my God, it didn't go up, understand it. It's a little more complex than that. But that doesn't mean we don't know what we're doing. It means we are not in that trade because we didn't have the setup to take the trade. Did we lose anything? No. Am I looking for the sell? No, we're not looking for the sell. I mentioned that we're not looking to sell any crypto. As a matter of fact, if you're following me, we're looking for some of them on long-term buys. You should follow. You might gain on those long-term buys because we bought it 3 times already and we closed it 3 times already, which means we're not in that long-term buy either. Although it's a long-term investment, we're getting the best of it because we keep buying it lower and we keep closing it before it comes back to the low, because that is not the one that is going. I'll show you to the end if you stick around. So I'm still looking for the buy. We don't have a buy setup. That's simple. Ethereum, same thing. We don't have a buy setup. We're looking for the buy. XRP, this one, yep, I'm expecting this to go back up, but the way this is coming down, there's a good chance that not this one go, that you might even make a flat here and come back down. Pretty much I showed you this flat, right? There is a chance that we go with a contracting flat there. I'm liking that. I'm not liking that contracting flat very much. As a matter of fact, the more I watch it, the less I believe that's a contracting flat. Can we look at this as the running flat and this is the low? That is possible. If that is the case, then what I want is this to go back up here, make a flag, and once I get this, we're going for this trade. See? If I don't get that, I'm not in the trade. Now remember, you can see this, right? This is the first impulse into that. So this is making a big flat, which means when it comes to the top here, it eventually will come back down. I don't think this is the one that will take off. This flat is really big at the bottom. Sometimes they take off, sometimes no. Right? But when it gets to the top there, we'll decide on that. This one I told you would likely drop lower, and I still think this is going to drop lower. We broke this low. So let's see if we get a flat here. If this turns out to be a flat, that could be a sell setup. Do we want to sell it? No, just wait. Let it break the low, then you buy. Same for this, and almost the same for all of them. This one would likely go break this low, and then you'll get a buy setup. The big picture is telling you that. So let me just put it to the big picture really quick, right? So when this comes down to the bottom here, every time it makes a new low, you can buy, because every time it makes a new low, it tends to go back up, right? Once this drop and break this low, there's a good chance it could make a spike like that. Maybe it will come back down, but can you take that spike? Well, why not? Take the trade and then we'll see what happens at that point. And the same thing here, right? This one is in this big consolidation. I think you will literally see that, right? So if all of this is inside of this, this has to come down here. go back up there, come back here. Pretty simple. That's how we expect patterns to develop. And if they develop that way, we get the trade. So I'll let this come here and then we look for a buy setup here to break the top, break this top. Can this come and break the low? Absolutely. But if it breaks the low, all it does is come back to the top here and go down back again. That would be a running flat, right? And you see this, these are common patterns that exist. You don't have to work. We've studied these patterns. I mean, if there's anybody who knows patterns on the internet in trade analysis, you're in the right place. There isn't one better than me in it. That's one thing even the people who hate me can tell you. There's nobody who can see the chart better than the way I look at it. So if you want to learn, this is where you should be. So we're getting this. This is a lot of corrective structures. I mean, this piece is looking really corrective here. This is looking like a real big correction. So although we have all of these sharp waves, this might be the only one that has a little correction. This might be the B part of a much bigger, long drawn out running flat. But this one would likely go back up there, right? See, they're all trying to find that low before they go back up. So don't try to sell, focus on getting the buy. And you can make 5, 6, 7, 8 attempts as long as you're not staying with the attempts, right? This would likely break the low and then we'll be buying it. The same should be for this one. Go break the low and then we will buy. Let it come here, break this low, then we'll buy. The same thing here. I could repeat that. I could stay here and do this the whole day, right? Remember when this one was a good buy when you broke this low? It actually went up there. I call that trade. Go back, watch the webinar. Once you break this low, I thought this would come break the low, go back up there. And now it's dropping, so you can see the pattern. It's pretty clear. You're in a sideways move. Remember I said there'll be a move up, and then you'll start to do this, and then there'll be another move up. Well, this wouldn't be the move up. I can tell you that right now. I mean, that wouldn't be the big impulse. That would be still in the correction. This would still be part of the correction. And then we'll have to come back down like this, and then we will go. This would be the impulse, this one. This one is unlikely to be the impulse because this is the B part of this whole structure. Well, the most corrective part of the structure. So rarely that part would be the move up, but it will be a move up once it breaks the low. So you can trade that. And if I'm wrong, well, then you can call me out on that one. Say, hey, you told me I'm only going to make this profit, but look, I'm making this much profit. So good for you. I would be happy to be wrong if you're in the trade. Let's go there. This, leave this alone. This would have to come down more. Let's see this. This could go back from this point. I don't think this, it could come down more, but there's a good chance you need to go back up. We'll look at this as a flat, and then we'll see if this comes back here. And the same would go here again. This is slightly different structurally. It's slightly different, so we'll just leave this alone for now. This is the one I did a webinar on, and I'll probably do an update on it. The first buy was when we broke, I think was when we broke this low here. Right, I tell you, if you get that, see, go up, you can close the trade. Right, so you didn't lose anything. The next buy, I think, was, we bought a few times, but I think we bought somewhere here as well. That went up, you close the trade. Here you can look for a buy setup. Now there's a risk here that this might not be the up move. But if you bought, great for you. If you bought on the break of this low, good for you. It might just come to this level, make a flat here and drop again. Or it just takes off, depending on whether we look at this as a contracting flat. See? But by it, what's going to be your worst case now? You get break even. When you're at the bottom like this, the chances of you not getting, especially if it's investment, the chances of you losing is very, very, very rare. So this is what the structure looks like. See, you're at the bottom. You're trying to find a bottom, right? So let's just make an assumption this thing will collapse. Don't go start writing crazy stuff on the chat, on the commentary. Right? Let's make an assumption that it will collapse. It's not going to collapse immediately in one drop, right? They might start to slow down, and then you might start to see this come back here and then go there and then do this and do that, and then boom, it's collapsed, right? So you might see that collapse if it's going to happen. But before the collapse happens, you can get the hell out of the trade. And you will be buying lower and lower, and you'll be getting out. You'll be buying lower, getting out, buying lower, getting out. And by the time you realize it, you might have doubled your account, right? So you could take out a part if it's getting lower. You take out a part and you buy cheaper, the same amount you initially wanted to buy. So if you double your account before it gets to that bottom, and you still think it could go up some more, and you keep buying, you could just take out some money from it and buy. You could buy more for cheaper, right? Because you're using less of your money. So you might have your capital and you'll be trading with the profit, and if it collapses, well, who cares? Now, do I think it's going to collapse right now? You tell me, I don't know. I'm telling you we're at the bottom, so there's a good chance that there is a spike to go up, even if it's a short one. Right now, I think it's just a short move to the top here and then come back down. Right, as of now, this one could probably just go here and come back down. And if you bought here, by the time it gets there, you put an order to sell at that point. So if this turns out to be a flat and we're dropping one more before we go, what do you care? You'll be out of the trade. You'd have bought here and you put an entry order to sell here. If it goes up to the top there, well, you start looking for an exit. Because from that point, it's going to come back down. And then you buy again under the low, right? When there's a setup. Let's go. This one, pretty much the same thing. Wait for it to make the low. It's going to come lower. I told you that will drop to probably break this low. Buy. Same here and same here. I can go on with all of them. Same thing. Let them break the lows, the bigger lows. This one, you want to come back and break this low. And then we'll decide if we want to buy. See, you can look at the bigger structure and decide which ones are at the low that you want to buy. Now, don't tell me that I think, don't try to remind me what I think of cryptocurrency, because that view has not changed. But as an instrument that you can use to trade and make money, why not use it? If you're using it, you can use that. Don't be the last guy to get the hell out of it. That's all. Right? Don't be the last person to get out. Don't hold on to this as if this is going to be the future. Even if the future is going to use blockchain technology and cryptocurrency, it's not going to be these cryptocurrencies. No government will create a cryptocurrency where you can produce it yourself. Think of it, right? So if a government said, okay, hey, we're using this money, but you know what? You can mine it yourself. You could make as much as you want. Everybody could have their own factory making that money. Not going to work, right? I think by now you realize no government will want that to happen. It's like you printing your own money, right? Not a good idea. It's a very, very bad idea. So there could be cryptocurrencies coming out. I think China has their own one, but they will have total control of it. So it wouldn't be, this free-flowing thing where everybody can mine it in their backyard if you want. Right? So it's going to be a little different. It's going to be more monitored, more controlled, more everything. So these are instruments if you want to trade them. Go ahead, trade them. Let's go. This one, it's coming down some more. I don't like the downside of it because it's not really going to go anywhere much. You're still in this big sideways. See, in that big sideways. And even if you come down a little more here, you're probably going to go back up. I don't think we've reached the top. So this is more of a consolidation to go one more up. So probably stay away from it. Natural gas, go back to the 1 hour. Okay, we've got a pretty deep pullback. I would probably be careful of trying to buy it in here. It's a buy setup, but this is a sharp move down. So if you get any buy setup here, it's probably just coming here and come back down. Maybe a flat pattern. You can give it a try if you have the ability, if you can get out of it before it pulls back. US oil. Okay, we're going up. You can go for the buys. I think you can go for, if you get a flag here, you can go for the buy. It would make sense going for this one first to break this top and maybe even all the way to this top. Right? And then we would see whether this is the flat with this tree wave, but with a tree wave in here, this might turn out to be the bigger flat here, which means we could come back here and go back there and then drop. It's consolidating. And when they consolidate, they stay in that range for a very long time. UK oil is the same thing. If you get a flag, you can buy. PayPal, still dropping. So if you want to invest, if you think it's not going to collapse, at some point you can wait for it to find the low and then start. This is a perfect sell, right? This sell was on for a long time. I hope you're in that sell and watch it when it breaks this low, right? That's when we'll watch it. Because if this is a corrective structure for upside, when they break the low, then it will start to go back up. See? Just look at this one. If you don't believe anything in wave analysis, this is as much as I know about Tesla. That this is a pattern it has in it. I don't know anything else about Tesla. I don't follow it. I don't read it. I don't have all the patience and time to waste behind all of that. I look at the structure. See, pretty easy. Amazon is the same thing. I don't follow these companies. I don't know what the hell they're doing. I don't look at I don't go study their history and who is involved and who are the investors and what bull crap they're talking. I look at the chart because the chart is telling me what it's going to do. You can go back and watch my webinars. You'll see. Chart says there's a flag here, sell it because it's going to drop. And it's that simple. Here's 30. There's a reason we sold it there. There's a reason I said, watch, this is too sharp. Don't look by you. I think we're going to make a running flat. This one is a little too sharp too, but I'll keep my eyes out for something forming here and then a sell setup. And the same would happen to all three of them, right? This one actually dropped quite a lot. I think yesterday my traders were in the trading room. We were saying, if you have the appetite to sell this, just to come back here and then maybe go back up there, you can go with that trade. If you did, you should probably close the trade here. So that's a good trade. This would probably go back up and then we look for sell setups again. I don't think this would be a running flat because this is sharp, this is sharp. So we might make something more complex here. Is it reversing back to the top? I don't think so. We're breaking out, right? So we're breaking out. We'll probably make a bigger flag or flat or something here and then drop. NASDAQ is the same thing, right? So these are sharp sudden waves. So let's wait and see what structure we can get out of them. You need a flat or a flag before you can sell. German DAX, probably wait for a flag. That wasn't the flag as well. So wait for a flag or a flat here and then we can sell. Remember, this could be a correction for upside. This one specifically could be a correction coming down here for upside. So sell this one with care. Nifty is supposed to be consolidating for the drop. I think you're consolidating. Look for a sell setup. Right? Basically, that's it. We've just completed. I think we have very few stocks and indices there. We need to update that one with some more since we're doing the webinar separate. Some more that are interesting. So if you guys have views in it and you would like to, advise which one to look at, post it under the comment and let's see how many people support it. If you've got good support for it, I'll add it onto the group. Right? Thank you very much. Trade with care. Bye.